We may be seeing more women and minorities on the ice playing at all levels of hockey, but sports writer Jashvina Shah still sees huge problems among marginalized players and fans of the sport. Her new book, authored with Evan Moore, takes a look at the way the structures and culture of hockey nurture an unhealthy environment in all sorts of ways. It's called Game Misconduct: Hockey's Toxic Culture and How to Fix It. She joins us this morning. Thank you for being with us.
Thank you for having me.
Well, I think, any casual hockey fan can see that the sport is predominantly made up of white players. And I think that's the one area that we tend to focus on so much in terms of diversity and representation in the sport. But there are a lot of other groups that seem to be being left out here.
Yeah, so for the book, we actually have about 6 different chapters, and we tried to focus on several different marginalized groups. So like you mentioned, it is very easy to see that there aren't many racialized people, but also the LGBTQ community, those who are disabled, those who are women or who aren't cis men or who are non-binary are also those who are discriminated against. And that sometimes that's not thought about as much, like you mentioned.
I think, there could be some fans who watch this and say, yeah, you know what, there are some issues with representation, and there are some other issues with the culture of the sport, but toxic, that carries a lot of weight, that word, calling it a toxic culture. What are fans missing that you're proposing in this book?
I think the large thing is that it's really woven into hockey's fabric. Like, it's not just one or two people. It's really just how it's made up from the top to the bottom, the policies that either exist or don't exist. For example, like, I know probably talking about the Chicago Blackhawks is also a thing, but, looking at systemic abuse, like those basic policies are just not in place to prevent those kinds of things. And it's not, these things are not like mistakes in the system. It's like how the system is set up. So when we say toxic, we mean like it goes even like down to the lowest level of hockey and down to what you might think is like really innocuous, like some of the values that hockey has, because it takes things like respect and makes it like this really crazy concept of like, you can't even, be if you're team first, it means that you don't have any personality, or you kind of shed who you are at the door instead of just like a reasonable version of what like a team first concept would be like.
Yeah, I think one of the biggest issues in terms of getting people of diverse backgrounds involved in a sport is accessibility to it. And hockey is a notoriously expensive sport, especially at the youth level. How do you fix that?
That's a really good question. I do think there are some really great programs. I mean, I don't know if you're familiar with it, but there's Snyder Hockey in Philadelphia. There's Score Boston in Boston. And those are, 2 examples of programs where they really work to cut the costs of hockey. So they provide that equipment and they provide that ice time to people from underserved communities so that they can participate. And also they tie in a lot of educational aspects into that. So like, for example, with Snyder Hockey, like they're really big on, helping kids with school and, linking their performance to kind of their play. And with Score Boston, they do educate their players on a lot of issues like racism and things like that. And I mean, it's really tough because it's very visible to see that at the youth level, it's expensive. But what a lot of people don't realize is that if you want to play competitively, say like you want to play Division I hockey, or you want to play, possibly professional or in the NHL, there are a lot of things like you have to pay to get your kids enrolled in showcases, which is really expensive because that's how they get noticed by college coaches. Usually players who are kind of on the fringe, like maybe not top tier talent like Austin Matthews, if you want to improve, you have to be enrolled in all these skill camps, and that also costs money. So it's not really a sport that you can succeed in unless you have that money. And I think it's a lot easier to tackle it at the youth level, to have access for those kids who maybe can't afford it, than it is to get those kids to a high level. Because, you know, how do we subsidize the cost of, I mean, that system has to be changed, like the whole shape of the system.
The book is Game Misconduct, Hockey's Toxic Culture and How to Fix It. And you can follow Jashvina on social media. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
All right.